Hey, what's going on? Back sooner than usual. Hope you guys are good. Yeah, I just wanted to tap in, man. You know, I take a little break. I'm feeling pretty rejuvenated, and I just kind of want to just hang out and see what's good. Tap into the cards, do a reading, do a timeless collective love reading. If you're new here, these readings are usually extensions of what comes out on the Instagram timeless love messages at jstarotservice. Yeah, man. Not sure what else there is to say. We're just going to go and take a deep breath, say a prayer, and tap in. Hey, the security guard is back over this way today. I'm not in my usual spot, as you can see, because, well, it was pretty crazy today. There's like a dude. I tried recording up there, but there was a dude. He was playing music. Hey, what's going on? Yep. It's the same guy. It's the same guy. It's so funny. It's the same guy that sees me in the other spot that I'm in. But, yeah, so there was like a dude that was playing music next to me, and it was super loud. It wasn't bothering me, but it was coming through in the video. I don't want to get like a DMCA strike or something like that, so I moved to my old spot, and now we're just going to be hanging out with the trees, tapping in and seeing what's good. As you can imagine, it's crazy out today. Energy is pretty intense because, I mean, it's coming up on Christmas. Regardless of whether you celebrate, it is a lot going on. So yeah, man, I'm not going to waste too much of your time. Let's go and take a deep breath, say a prayer, and hop into the reading. Pray to God, Spirit, my guides, my angels, and my ancestors to help myself, the collective, and anybody watching to see the clearest messages for the highest good of all involved for our love and relationships for a timeless love reading. We are going to be using the Sorcerer's Tarot today, likely going to be clarifying with the Golden Dawn Tarot, and depending on how much time we have, closing out with a different deck, probably the animal messages. I don't know if I had already mentioned it, but if you want to book a personal reading or see any of my other services, it's in the description. I don't know if I had mentioned that already. I did like one recording prior to this, and I wanted to make sure the volume was up on my headphones. So yeah, I re-recorded it. Literally just the first intro, just the intro. So I don't know if I had mentioned it, I don't recall. But yeah, man, hope you guys have been good. It's only been a couple days since my last reading. Oops. Kind of just wanted to tap in. So, let's see what comes out. Give thanks to my guides, my angels, and my ancestors for any messages that want to come out for myself and the collective today, for anything we need to know, realistically. Yeah, let's see what we got. We got a little stackaroonie that came out. All right, bottom of the deck, we have the Eight of Wands. We do have the Star. We have the King of Wands. We have the Five of Cups, the Six of Wands, the Knight of Wands, back to the Star. There's a lot of fiery, passionate movement type of energy. I think we are still in Sagittarius season. I feel like if you haven't already, you can expect to see some of this in the connection. This is more than likely a continuation of whatever connection we were tapping into last reading. It had to do with this blossoming, being patient with the blossoming, letting things flow, letting things move as they do. And you know, it's actually funny, before I started the reading, I don't know if anybody uses CoStar. I know a lot of people don't use it anymore for some reason. I guess because it's kind of old. I just recently started using it. But I got the notification for like the daily, you know, energies. And it said, fall into love without trying to control it. Major lesson for me for like many years, and I feel like that's kind of a big thing that's been coming out, especially in the collective reading we did on Instagram. It was this energy of really just being patient, taking things at a pace that's comfortable for you. Was basically 2 readings ago. But yeah, man, so let's just kind of tap into this here. I feel like there is a little bit of apprehensiveness. I mean, what can I say? This is almost entirely, except for the Five of Cups, this is all wand energy. The Star can be speaking of like that wish fulfillment type of energy coming into this connection. I feel like we talked about this in the last reading, and readings in past. A lot of the relationships coming into our lives right now are very influential. Not to say that any relationships prior weren't, but I do feel like connections that are coming in right now with all of the changes that we've been going through collectively are going to be very influential to not only helping us deepen our connection to ourselves, but deepen our connection to our ancestors, our spirit guides, guardian angels, and all of the divine beings that we, you know, talk about and work with and do these readings with, right? That is a freaking major thing coming through. I'm just a little curious though, right? We have the Five of Cups here. The Five of Cups, it can speak of disappointments, but I feel like more than anything, this is just a cautious, excuse me. this is like a cautious type of energy going on, right? I feel like there's the desire here. There's a personal victory going on. I feel like somebody here has essentially matured. You know, this could be you or your person, but I feel like somebody's going from the Knight to the King of Wands, right? And this is somebody who maybe initially this is what it is. Whoever was acting in this Knight of Wands space is now not necessarily getting the results that they were seeking, and which I feel like is why the Five of Cups came out. Acting in the old ways, living out your old paradigms, it's going to keep, yielding the same results. I'll use myself as an example. I was kind of really reflecting on every relationship and connection that I've been on since I started dating again this past year. I took about a 2 or 3 year break from dating completely. And just recently, this past year, I started getting back into dating, right? And so I'm looking over every single situation that I've been in. And I just wanted to find a pattern, right? That was kind of the lesson that was coming up for me. And it's really reminiscent of this kind of energy. It was really trying to move in a particular direction, either moving too quickly or not staying long enough to give things a try. There was a combination of different things that I came to within myself that I realized I was like, okay, you know what? This kind of energy that I was in isn't going to work anymore. And I feel like this is across the board, not just with me, but with either your person you're dealing with or something that you may be dealing with as well. And I feel like that's where this maturity is coming from. And so whether or not you have somebody coming forward towards you, I feel like this is the personal victory that you are seeing. I feel like you have overcome a lot of disappointments in your life. You've overcome a lot of things in your life that have really kept you in a space of just feeling disappointed, feeling like things weren't necessarily coming the way you needed them to, right? Things weren't working out the way you wanted them to because you were continuously living out the same cycles that were reminiscent of this Knight of Wands energy. And I just feel like this could definitely be you leveling up, having that personal victory, leveling up, being sure of yourself, sure enough to know what it is you want, and not being afraid to take the actions necessary, but also like not being so impulsive. And that's what I see with the King of Wands here. I feel like you and your person have both realized that like that impulsivity isn't going to get you where you need to go. There needs to be structure and organization surrounding these types of connections, okay? And I feel like that's kind of what's being seen here, especially with the Eight of Wands. I feel like that's where the fast movement is coming in. Because you underwent the shift within yourself, you're now starting to see the shift externally to you, I guess I should say. You're really starting to see things move in a beautiful direction, and I feel like that has a lot to do with the fact that you decided to focus on yourself. And that's why a lot of these connections are coming in for us these days, because when you take your attention off of things that you've been trying to manifest for so long, a lot of the times that's when the universe will bring it into your life to varying degrees, and that can apply to so many different aspects of your life, okay? We're going to go ahead and pull some more cards here, though. Going to get some general advice. I didn't even need to pull or shuffle. They literally just came out. So let's go ahead and take these. Yeah, this is pretty reminiscent of the last reading. We pretty much got most of these cards last reading, man. We got the High Priestess, we got the Chariot, we got the Seven of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles, okay? So, again, I feel like you're seeing, this is exactly what we just said. Seeing that movement, we got 2 Chariot cards last reading, okay? Seeing that very quick and fast movement, it's almost like this co-creation with the universe, right? This is another lesson or realization that I came to yesterday. For me personally, when I go into a state of manifestation, I will tend to, be in a state of co-creation with, spirit or the universe or whatever you want to look at it as. And I'll go, tit for tat. I'll do a little bit. I'll let the universe do a little bit. But I notice I would get into this space where once the universe does a little bit, I will tend to do a little bit, and then I'll keep doing more and more and more. And so I realized, I was like, okay, the co-creation process isn't just one thing. It's not just a one-time thing that you do something, the universe does something, and now it's all on you to do the rest. It's like, no, I feel like it's kind of a back and forth, and something that you need to kind of be in tune with within your own self, because it's going to look different for everybody, right? And I kind of feel like that's why we have the Nine of Pentacles, the High Priestess, and the Seven of Pentacles. It's this energy of like, okay, knowing what it is you need to do, and like having the power within yourself to make those moves. Take the steps that are guided within your own life. Be okay with maybe taking a step back sometimes. And I feel like that's why the High Priestess is here. It's like asking you to really focus on the intuitive guidance that you are receiving within your own experience. regarding when it's time to make a move and when it's time to focus on yourself and kind of just build your life and plant those seeds and just really focus on taking care of yourself, but also not being afraid to be that independent person that makes the moves that need to be made. I know it sounds fairly redundant. I'm getting really distracted. There's a lot of cars driving by me. I'm not used to having so many cars driving by me and people looking at me while I'm reading. So it's a little bit disconcerting, I'm going to be honest. So if I seem a little all over the place, it's because there's a lot of people out today. And it's just a little intense. It's a little intense, right? So let's see. We're going to get some more cards here, some advice, or just really anything that needs to come out before pulling with a new deck. Okay. Right, because it's like you can really pick up on the energy people send your way, especially when I'm sitting in a parking lot doing a tarot reading, right? I feel like it's something where it's like, you know, not everybody is into that kind of stuff, especially in the place I live. I feel like it's looked at a little bit weird, perhaps. I kind of stick out like a sore thumb over here where I stay at. So let's see here. We got one card that came out. Yeah, so it's just a little weird. So if I seem like I'm not in my usual space, a little scattered, that's more than likely why. But regardless, bottom of the deck we have the Worlds, we have the Knight of Cups, and we have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, so you know, I really feel like this is touching on basically what it is we were just talking about. It's an extension of that. It's like, what blockages do you have within yourself that are preventing you from really either accepting this type of love into your life or making this type of love, or I want to say making this type of, like making this type of offer? Do you feel like you need to make an offer? It really depends on what it is you want, and like being willing to adapt to what the universe is presenting you with. And I feel like this is the energy of somebody here who's having a hard time adapting. Okay, this could be you or your person, but I feel like somebody here is being held back by their own cycles. This is kind of the energy. Four of Pentacles and the World. Excuse me, there are things that are just keeping either you or your person from making or saying the things that need to be said, making the moves that need to be made, saying the things that need to be said. I just feel like this is really going to come down to you being real with yourself, okay? This is really what it's telling me. It's like, what within yourself do you feel like is keeping you from accepting this kind of love into your life? Is it trust issues? Do you feel like somebody, when they try to make those kinds of words, there's so many people driving by and they're just like staring right at me, man, because I'm like in a weird spot. So it's really making me feel awkward, man. I'm trying to read, man, but it's almost constant cars flowing by me at this point. It's making me feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna be completely honest. So I'm trying to read, guys, but it's non-stop cars. And people, like, if I look and then they make eye contact with me, and it makes me feel awkward because I'm not used to doing this in front of a bunch of people. That's why I go to my other spot. So I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if I'm not fully on it with this reading, but it's just a lot going on out here. And I feel like that's the message too. I feel like that is part of the energy that is going on in this connection. There is a lot that's going on. There's a lot of nonverbal communication that happens in these divine connections. And I think we have talked about this in the past, where it's like, it's being able to actually see that and, you know, staying grounded enough to be able to focus on what's not being said. Especially if this is in a setting where it's like you don't necessarily always have an open line of communication with this person. You know, like this could be like a work setting, this could be in a service setting, this could be in a school setting, this could be in a, you know, a group setting where there's multiple people around, and you just maybe don't have that full-on one-to-one communication and interaction, you know, because when you're around different people and you have other people around, a lot of people don't necessarily feel comfortable fully being themselves to the degree that they would if they were just, you know, one-on-one with somebody else. And I feel like that's why the High Priestess is really here to get you to just trust yourself enough to know that when these types of offers are being made to you, especially coming from the King of Wands type of space, so long as you know what it is you're looking for and you trust yourself enough to say yes and no to the things that you truly do want or don't want, you can trust things that do come into your life, okay? But it's going to take you maybe letting your guard down a little bit. This is also what I see with the Four of Pentacles. This feels like very guarded energy, and, you know, understandably so. I feel like, yes, you have been through a lot, okay? all of us have in love. Everybody's been through so much, especially with the past few years. But don't let that be the reason you don't invest in a relationship that you truly want. Because I feel like the opportunity for you to invest in a relationship is here, but it's really going to take you letting your guard down, steps at a time. Take baby steps, man. You don't have to like, jump headfirst into the relationship and just full on be like, yeah, I'm doing this. Let's just like get married tomorrow. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. You can take this at a pace that is comfortable for you, one day at a time. Okay, we're gonna pull from another deck though. Let me get these cards out of the way. Okay, we are going to go ahead and pull from the Golden Dawn Tarot. It's just like a very hectic energy. I know it's, like obviously, yes, the spot I'm in, but also in this connection that we're reading for, it's a lot going on. It's a lot that's not being said. And I feel like for good reason, because it's like you both are just, testing the waters, feeling each other out, trying to determine whether or not this is something that you will feel comfortable investing in, because, relationships like these, especially if you're looking for that long-term committed partnership, that takes work, that takes effort, that takes adaptation, that takes compromise. There's a lot that goes into these connections that we have talked about in the past, right? It is a lot that goes into it, and I don't feel like anybody is in the wrong if they're just taking their time to really focus on what it is they need to do to feel comfortable in a connection like this. And I feel like that goes for both of you. This is what came out in the Instagram reading. It's like, what do you need to feel comfortable right now? Like, what would make you feel safe, considering everything that you've been through, and considering what this connection is bringing to you right now? What would it take for you to feel safe, right? We do have a little bit of a stack though. We got the Four of Pentacles again, and we got the Five of Cups. Five of Cups came out in the daily today. Let's talk about these. We got a little story time, I guess. So we have the Three of Pentacles, we have the Five of Cups, we have the King of Pentacles, we have the Five of Swords, we have the Four of Pentacles, and we have the Queen of Wands, okay? Yeah, man, the desire to build is there, but there is just a lot of guardedness. And I don't think it's just any one person. I feel like this is both of you. I do feel like, yes, things are going to be moving in a particular direction, man, but there is a lot that is holding you both back. And I feel like that needs to be looked at. And if you're not necessarily in constant communication with this person, I do feel like that there's just a lot of mental conflict, and it doesn't necessarily feel like it is between you. I don't feel like this is something where you're both batting heads or anything. I don't feel like there's any actual conflicts or arguments going on between you two. I just feel like there is some guardedness, man. That is the king. You know what's funny? I wasn't going to talk about it because I wanted to move on to a new deck, but the King of Pentacles came out at the bottom of the deck of the other deck we were using, and then it came out right here, so I'm just going to talk about it. Let me try to synthesize this in a way that makes sense. We'll just stare at the cards for now, and let me synthesize this in my head before I just like fire off at the mouth. Let me make sure I'm speaking groundedly. I feel like that's the energy too, is making sure that you're grounded. I feel like a lot of that guardedness will wither away once you ground yourself. And when it comes to connections like these, it's really easy to lose yourself, right? If you look up some of these symptoms of falling in love, a lot of the times, from what I understood, I was reading up on it, and falling in love with somebody releases a chemical in the brain called oxytocin, and that chemical will essentially, suppress your appetite. It can lead to insomnia. It has some very real chemical effects on the body, what falling in love does to a person, right? Especially when it's a new connection and things are still kind of up in the air. You don't know where things are going just yet. You have an idea of where you want to go, right? You have the plan, you have the desire. You are taking things slow, you are being cautious, and I feel like you are being guarded for good reason, but just don't let that be the thing that leads to you being disappointed. I feel like this has a lot to do with expectations, right? This has a lot to do with what do you expect in this connection, and are you able to find a compromise between what you expect and what is actually going to be coming through, right? At what point do you kind of draw the line within yourself in a connection? And sorry guys, this is just a lot of different things coming through in one particular message here. And it's a culmination of everything that I've been kind of working through as well. which is why I also feel like I needed to take that break. I wanted to be able to speak to you guys from a place of actually having worked through a lot of these things before talking about them. So let's take these things in consideration here. Subconscious programming, expectations, and the newness and exciting nature of a relationship, and the chemical effects of, the brain releasing, chemicals into the body that affects you in particular ways. Can create a sense of anxiety, can create a sense of panic, not in a bad way. But all of that said, how does that relate to how you're moving in this connection? I think that's a good way to say. I hope that kind of made sense. I'm really trying to synthesize this the best I can. If you know, you know what I mean? I feel like this is one of those things where if you're tapping into these types of energies and you're experiencing them and you're watching this reading, again, thank you for watching, you'll know what I'm talking about. It won't be something where I got to sit here and break it down for you, because I feel like you'll know if this is something that really resonates with you. If it doesn't, don't force it, because this is a very particular type of energy coming through, okay? But regardless, I feel like there is going to be movement, but it's just going to take time. You know what I mean? That's kind of, I think we have, did this come out? I'm not sure if this came out. This came out in the collective reading on Instagram. We got the Knight of Swords. This is also the Knight of Swords in this deck. It's called the Prince of Swords, but it's the Knight of Swords. Under that, we do have Ace of Cups. We have the Eight of Wands, and we do have the Seven of Cups. And we'll go to the Hierophants, and then we have a counterpart coming out here with the Queen of Wands. We had a lot of stuff, a lot of messages coming through. I'm going to just do one last recap on these, and we're going to go into these, and then we'll have to close out the reading here soon. So again, there's the desire to build something here. I feel like you both want to invest in this. There is the desire to, build a relationship here with this person. But you're going to need to let go of that guardedness. That's kind of where this comes from. It's like you make that decision to actually build and invest in the partnership, and then it's like, okay, the next step from there is, what is blocking me from building this relationship? What boundaries do I need to set? What boundaries do I maybe need to adjust? Keep in mind, boundaries are adjusted depending on your expectations of the circumstances, which is always constantly changing. Yeah. What do you need to do to kind of change your own perspective in order to not be so guarded, maybe not be so defensive? I feel like a lot of the times when these new emotions arise, it can tend to lead to a sense of anxiety, which will lead to defensiveness. It's a snowball effect. And so it's being aware of what you're feeling, really feeling into the body. Where are those emotions feeling in your body? Where do you feel them in your body? What are they trying to tell you? Be open to what they're trying to tell you. How do you feel when you're around this person? How do you feel when you're away from this person? If all of those things align to you feeling really good about things, had an orange car pass in front of us. If you guys know anything about me at all, orange cars are a nice synchronicity for me, and that was a nice confirmation. I maybe said it in like one video, so I don't know if you would know, but when orange cars for me are like a nice confirmation. So if everything is feeling aligned, and you have no reason to not trust this person or this connection, they haven't done anything, they haven't said anything, then it looks like everything is good to go. Just, make sure you're really facing what's coming up for you. Do not let past disappointments hold you back from investing in this. Don't let your fear of disappointment hold you back from investing in this. Realize that those fears are going to come up regardless. This is a good time to work through them. If you're having a bit of a rest period before you're really embarking on this, I feel like both people are, this is a really good time to take that space to evaluate what it is you truly want to move forward with, okay? So, we're going to go on to this next deck. We do have the Queen of Wands, we have the King of Wands, we have the Hierophants, the Seven of Cups, the Eight of Wands, Ace of Cups, the Prince of Swords. So we have the counterparts. We do have two people who are very passionate about each other. They're both looking at each other here. The passion is mutual. The feelings are mutual. If you're in a connection like this, it's pretty easy to tell when the feelings are mutual. I think we talked about this last reading. The people around you will likely notice so as well, especially if this is in a public setting. You know what I mean? I do feel like this is a very transformative connection. This is something that is really helping you to push you into a space of being the best person you can be, not just for yourself, but for the connection and the person. I know a lot of the times we do talk about being your best self for you, but it's also okay to be your best self for somebody else. I feel like that goes in tandem. What old paradigms do you need to let go of? What illusions are you holding on to? I feel like a really good thing to bring up right now is letting go of potential options that you may have kept in the sidelines. If you feel like you have options or you feel like they have options, I feel like that is being looked at right now. I do feel like that is something that is, the illusions of those connections are being brought to light. And it's something where I feel like because you're coming into contact with a divine connection, regardless of how that looks in the 3D right now, I do feel like this is getting you both to look at your past, look at things, old ways of living and doing relationships and love that may have kept you in a state of disillusionment when it comes to how you pursue a partner. But more than anything, I feel like this is really needing to look past the illusions. Really, this could also be like a planning type of energy. It's really interesting. I've never really seen it like that, but I forgot which reading I was looking at, watching. But somebody talked about the Seven of Swords of being a planning energy, how to make plans and move forward and to make changes. Because when I see sevens, a lot of the time that can be a change in perspective. And so I feel like there's a change in perspective about what it is you thought was possible in love and relationships right now. I don't feel like you really expected this. I don't feel like this is something that you were looking for. I feel like this came along, like I said, because you were focusing on yourself, and because you did that, you came into alignment with somebody who was doing the same, but still has that deep desire to actually build a relationship. It feels like that is there, okay? Talking about these three cards, though, Eight of Wands came out again, I believe. You know, I'm sorry, I'm mixing up the reading that I did on Instagram with this reading. I don't recall if the Eight of Wands came out. I feel like it did. I don't see it here. Did it come out? I don't know, but it did come out in the daily. I don't see the Eight of Wands. Regardless, though, I do feel like you're going to be seeing a lot of movement here, dude. This is, again, can be somebody keeping their distance for the meantime, keeping a watchful eye, you know, just admiring you from a distance, maybe not showing all their cards just yet. I feel like that's going to change. I feel like if you have already had the experience with this person where they have consistently shown up, they've consistently made the effort, regardless of whether that was like grandiose or whether that was just small things here and there, keep in mind everybody is going through their own shit. They only have so much that they can give. Another thing that came out in the reading on Instagram, there's only so much somebody can give if their cup is not full. So I feel like right now both people are making sure that their cups are full. That is both of you making sure that you can give enough to this relationship. The desire is there. The movement is going to be coming if it has not already started. And I just feel like you're going to be having that conversation at some point. I don't like to speak in absolutes because energy and time are always in flux and free will is always at play. But as things stand right now, the opportunity to build this relationship is here. The desire is mutual. And it looks like both people are willing and able to speak about that. So just make sure that, you know, when the time comes, that was another big lesson for me. Move at a pace that is right for you, but also be aware of the pacing of the universe. Divine timing, we talk about this all the time. You know, let's get some final advice with a animal messages deck. I'm gonna pull just one card real quick before we close it. I'm just gonna pull from, you know, the back of the deck. Final message and advice to you here is to be sure. You know, don't be afraid to speak about what it is you want. Princess of Swords, this is Page of Swords. You know, be honest with yourself. Be honest with your person. You know, let truth reign free in this connection. If you really want this person and the opportunity arises to have that conversation, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. I think that's a really good piece of closing advice. Be vulnerable when the time calls for it. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to sit there and complain about they did this, they didn't do this. Just be honest with how you feel about them, what you're looking for in a long-term relationship, what you're looking for in a relationship as a whole, what your goals are as a person, where you see yourself in some amount of years, where you want to live, what you want to do for a living, you know, your dreams, your goals, your passions, you know, within reason, right? You know, I feel like those are the types of things that are going to be coming up in a connection like this when you continue to move forward and get to know somebody. So really be clear with yourself about where it is you're going, what it is you want, and don't be afraid to speak about that with your person, right? Okay, let's get some final closing messages here with the animal messages deck. We got two, we'll take. Bottom of the deck we have Beaver. It says, investing in home comforts provides security and family togetherness. You know, makes sense with the holiday season. We have the Raven. It says, listen to your intuition to receive a message from the world of spirits. And we have the parrot. I think this came out last reading. Let sunshine revitalize your soul and color transform your world. So I just feel like this is something that's really going to be blossoming here for you. We talked about this in the last reading. Let things flow at the pace they do. Embrace the blossoming of the flower of this relationship, however you want to look at it. But just be aware that, like, just enjoy. It's kind of this energy of, like, enjoy the process. Like, appreciate the person while they're here. Whether they're going to be here long term or short term is depending on a lot of different factors, especially free will and whether you want to invest in this relationship. But I do feel like Spirit is really trying to get you to listen to your intuition here. You know what I mean? What do you want your home life to look like? How can you make your home feel more like home so that you can feel comfortable when it comes to moving forward in a connection? But more than anything, another thing I'm getting, I do feel like this is something where you feel at home with this person. Okay, I feel like you're kind of seeing this person as long-term potential. I do feel like you can see yourself building a future with this person. And I feel like that energy is mutual. Okay, I feel like the energy is mutual, and I feel like that's why this card is coming out here with the Raven. Spirit's asking you to really feel into this connection. When you connect with this person, really pay attention to the things that come up for you. The thoughts, the emotions, the visions, and pre and post and during, right? Really, coagulate all of those things together to give you a broad perspective of what it is this relationship is trying to teach you. Keeping in mind, every relationship is trying to teach you something. Everybody has something to work on. Everybody has has room to grow in a relationship. So don't be afraid of holding back. It's kind of the closing message here. Don't be afraid of investing, and don't hold back when the time calls for. Okay, we're going to get one final animal message here for you from the, back in the deck. Before we closing out, we got about a minute left. Last card, we have Crocodile. It says, the alchemy of energy teaches that death will always yield new life. Yeah, this is pretty much what's been happening in this connection, man. If this connection was formed in a space of really maybe a lack of a solid foundation, I feel like the old ways of moving in your life and in love are now being broken down so that you can continue to build a solid foundation, whether with this person or somebody else. If you don't have somebody that you're dealing with, this could be something that you should reflect on to understand how you want to move forward in future relationships. This doesn't always have to be a romantic, even though this is a love reading, okay? But I just feel like as a final closing message here, Spirit is saying that it's like, even if things seem to be shifting, maybe things are kind of moving in a different kind of direction you weren't expecting, don't try to control it. I'm going to close it out with that message I got from CoStar. Fall into love without trying to control it. Let love be what love is. Love is like water. It is going to flow and it is going to morph. It just asks you to be, adapt to it, be willing to compromise, and be patient with yourself and your person. And, just don't hold back and be truthful and honest, right? But that's all I got for you guys, man. We got like 11 seconds. I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Personal reading, other services in the description. I will see you in the next reading. You guys have a great day. Goodbye.